This video is being made specifically for one person. That person knows who he or she is, and to protect their identity I will not mention any names. Besides, that sort of information is not really important to what I want to share anyway. So let's move on. You, the viewer, may watch if you wish, and you may make suggestions and comments. I would welcome your input. Recently, I made a video entitled Change Your Focus, Change Your Life. It was done for two reasons: to show the capability of a lens in its ability to change focus, and to use the platform to express some personal views. Watch it if you'd like. It's called Change Your Focus, Change Your Life. This video was watched by my nephew, and he found that it had some value. Others did too. One person even wrote, and I quote, "You should make a video on what to do if you're depressed and can't seem to get out of a rut. I'm a Christian, and I also love photography and being in the woods. It's peaceful. But I'm starting to question reality, like nothing feels real to me, and I'm just an emotional mess, and don't know how to find the meaning in life that I also question sometimes. If you have some advice, I would love to hear it. Thanks." End quote. At first I thought I would pretend that I didn't read that because, after all, I'm not qualified to address clinical depression. There are experts for that. Besides, giving bad advice can do more harm than good. Then I read it again and saw where a Christian person was asking the question, and that gave me license to answer. Yes, that's right. It gave me a license to answer the question. Not from the point of view of offering clinical advice, since I'm not qualified to do that, but from the point of view of being a human being. I have been depressed. I have studied Christianity. I am aware of being down and out. I understand clearly that the clergy has no more authority to address any subject than I do. The clergy as a profession may have read more, may have access to more written information, that is, words expressed by so-called inspired men, but they do not know more than you and I, not at all. Besides, it's one of two recognized professions where there is no accountability or liability for anything they say, that is, any advice they may give. When was the last time a clergy sued for giving bad advice? The law is just now catching up with so-called men of the cloth for unspeakable violations against people in the name of God. So, here goes. Here are some of my discoveries. First, I don't know who or what God is. She may well be everything and everywhere and is so all-encompassing that definition is impossible. I therefore resist the temptation to personify God. For now, let's just say that when I use the term God, I do so as a word to explain the unexplainable. I can only hope that you have identified your own concept of God and that you have the courage and good sense to know instinctively, deep down in your heart, that your definition is correct and more valid than some clergy spewing platitudes, because it is personal. And please don't quote any book as being the Word of God. It is no more the Word of God than, say, my words are. Second, you, as an individual, is far more powerful and relevant than any sage or prophet of the old times. I believe that modern prophets, sages if you will, are far more spiritual and sacred than those of the past. I am more inspired by the words of Marley, King, Mandela, Lennon, Garvey, and so many more than the words of the sages of the past. These were lonely scribes living in a cave, simply making up stuff. The modern sage lived their lives in real time in real ways. They were not illumined by extracting themselves from people. So, in my opinion, God is unexplainable. She allows herself to be known through feelings. As a photographer, go into the woods by a stream and sit in silence and allow her to speak to you through feelings, through your heart, through you. God, therefore, I think, resides in you. You are the center of all things and the center of your universe. God is in you. You are the authority on the subject of God. So, In knowing your power, be very careful what you decree. Words are powerful. They have a rippling effect, like a pebble dropped in a still pool of water. You are what you say you are. You are what you have decreed. Be very careful of what you say after you say the words, I am. Be very, very careful what you say after you say the words, I am. Hence, my opinion in the cause of depression. Not clinical depression, mind you, since I'm not qualified to discuss that, but the garden variety depression, what you and I as human beings feel from time to time. I think it comes from the influence of others, allowing the thought of others, the words of others, the ownership of others, what you suspect of others, the dependency on others, other people. In other words, depression, I think, comes from other people, which you allow to be ingrained in you, which causes us to be lost. Not knowing where we are or who we are sometimes brings on depression. That's my point of view. It's interesting, I think, that the first recorded question God asked man was, where are you? That was in Genesis 3:8, followed by, who told you? Genesis 3:11. So, we feel naked, and since we have been told there is shame in being naked, we feel ashamed of our reality of self. So we go outside ourselves for answer. Isn't that interesting? When in fact the exact opposite is what we should do. Not go outside of ourselves, but go inside ourselves. According to Microdacism, you are brilliant, you are beautiful, you're spiritual, you are the center of your universe, you have value, you are unique, you are special. These are not just words, by the way, these are facts. Stop comparing yourself to others. You're not them, and they are not you. You both are very special and unique, but not to be influenced by either. You are, God is. When you recognize the God in you, show your respect and worship your own divinity. Never say anything negative after you say, I am. If you say, I am ugly, then that is what you have decreed. If you say, I am poor, then you are poor. If you say, I am fat, you have judged yourself based on what? The views of others. If you say you are unhappy, then you get what you have decreed. If you say, I am depressed, then so be it. You are unique, so stop comparing yourself to others. May I suggest that starting today, shed those mistaken beliefs accumulated through a lifetime of adults and authoritative figures doing whatever they can to say it and to influence you. Be strong and do not accept their views of you. You are not someone else. You are you. A woman was bailed out of jail because of being drunk. She drank each and every time she felt aroused, because her mother caught her masturbating and slapped her fingers so hard she almost lost them. So now she drinks each and every time she has that feeling. Now, before you judge her, think about yourself. Have you not adopted the same attitude towards what should be beautiful and gratifying? Why is that? Who told you that you were naked? You remember Genesis 3:11? Think about this. If someone, another person or thing, can influence you on something as personal, natural, beautiful, and gratifying as self-satisfaction, then how much easier is it for them to control you through influences that have nothing to do with your realities? And the more control you relinquish to others, the more depressed you are. That's what I think. As for being a Christian and feelings of depression, it is all planned that way by unscrupulous and self-serving so-called clergymen. As a Christian, you can never know what Jesus said or who he is. His words have been changed and manipulated so much through the ages that we can only get a glimpse of what this entity may have been. Tradition holds that Jesus left 2 rules. Love your God with all your heart and soul. You now know that God is within you, not outside there somewhere. So, love you with all your heart and your soul. His second rule is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. As a Christian, that's all you need to know. Just think about that. And as a Christian, you should read the Sermon on the Mount frequently. That is, Matthew 5 through 7. That will be good for you to see how far removed the so-called Christian church is from what is considered the traditional Jesus. Practice your belief in private. Meditate in private. Read Matthew 6, 5 through 7, and really meditate on that. You don't need a church. Adopt the attitude of gratitude and give thanks. When you pray, just say 2 words, 3 times. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Erase all negative outside influences and neutralize depression. Love yourself every chance you get, and decree only that which is good and positive. And, of course, love your neighbor. Meditate on those 2 rules. Love yourself and love your neighbor.